he was a community leader, an entrepreneur, and a symbol of hope for South Los Angeles. On March 31, 2019, Nipsey Hussle's life was stolen in a brutal shooting outside his own clothing store, shocking the world. Fans, friends, and even rivals mourned the loss of a man whose influence reached far beyond music. Ermias Asghedom, known professionally as Nipsey Hussle, had built a legacy that extended far beyond his mixtapes and platinum records. Born and raised in South Los Angeles, he overcame adversity to not only achieve success in hip-hop, but also to invest deeply in his community. His store, the Marathon Clothing, was more than a retail space. It was a hub for local youth, entrepreneurs, and neighborhood revitalization projects. Nipsey's life was about mentorship, opportunity, and proving that you could give back while chasing your dreams. That day, Nipsey was outside the Marathon Clothing, interacting with fans, friends, and associates. Security cameras captured moments of casual conversation, laughter, and celebration. But in the background, danger approached. Eric Holder, 29, reportedly carrying personal grievances and with gang affiliations, appeared and opened fire. Nipsey was struck multiple times on the sidewalk, collapsing in front of his store. Bystanders and friends rushed to help, attempting to shield him and perform first aid. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but despite their efforts, Nipsey Hussle was pronounced dead at just 33 years old. The violence shocked the city. Holder fled briefly, but was quickly apprehended by law enforcement. Investigators uncovered that the attack was motivated by personal disputes, though gang ties and previous altercations complicated the case. Holder was charged with first-degree murder and eventually convicted, bringing accountability for the fatal shooting. The response to Nipsey's death was global. Thousands attended vigils, memorials, and marches, celebrating not just his music, but his dedication to uplifting the community. His death sparked conversations about violence in Los Angeles neighborhoods, the role of mentorship, and how wealth and influence can be used to create positive change. Nipsey's business ventures, including the Marathon Clothing and local real estate investments, continue to support South LA programs. Foundations established in his name fund education, job training, and community resources. Even after his death, his message, to run the race, resonates with fans, artists, and entrepreneurs alike.
The man convicted of killing Nipsey Hussle has been sentenced to 60 years to life in prison. The LA Superior Court judge handed down the ruling this afternoon. Last summer, a jury found Eric Holder Jr. guilty of first-degree murder. Holder shot the rapper back in 2019 outside his clothing store in the Crenshaw district of South LA. He was also convicted of 2 counts of attempted voluntary manslaughter for shooting 2 other men who survived.
Nipsey Hussle's murder was a tragic reminder of how violence can cut short the lives of those who work to make a difference. But while his life ended too soon, his legacy continues to thrive. He was a rapper, yes, but also a teacher, a businessman, and a mentor. He believed in lifting others as he climbed. Though he was taken from his community on that sunny March afternoon, Nipsey Hussle's vision, music, and message live on, inspiring generations to keep moving forward, no matter the obstacles. He was a Motown legend, the voice behind What's Going On, Sexual Healing, and some of the most soulful music ever recorded. But on a quiet April afternoon in 1984, Marvin Gaye's life ended not at the hands of a stranger, but at the hands of his own father. A heated argument inside their Los Angeles home turned into one of the most heartbreaking tragedies in music history.
Police in Los Angeles say soul singer Marvin Gaye has been shot to death, and his father, a minister, Marvin Gaye Sr., has been taken into custody. Police give this account. At about 12:30 this afternoon Pacific time, Gaye became involved in a heated argument with his father at Marvin Gaye Sr.'s home. His father pulled a gun and shot the singer an undetermined number of times in the chest.
Marvin Gaye's death has left the music industry and all of his fans in shock. Just about everybody knew of his personal problems with 2 unhappy marriages, bankruptcy, and drugs. But it was the way he died that appears hardest to understand.
Marvin Gaye had spent years battling inner turmoil, pressure from fame, a failing career, financial struggles, and a painful history of conflict with his father. In early 1984, he moved into his parents' home to recover from depression and regroup his life. But the house on Gramercy Place was a powder keg. Tension, resentment, and old wounds simmered beneath the surface. And on April 1st, everything finally exploded. That morning, Marvin heard his parents arguing loudly. His father, Marvin Gaye Sr., was a strict, domineering preacher with a history of clashing bitterly with his son. When their argument grew heated, Marvin stepped in, defending his mother and confronting his father in a way he hadn't dared before. The shouting escalated into a physical fight. Marvin pushed his father, yelling for him to stop. It was a moment driven by years of pent-up pain. Minutes later, his father returned, holding a handgun that Marvin had previously given him as a gift for protection. Without a word, he pointed the gun at his son and fired. The first shot struck Marvin in the chest. As he collapsed, his father stepped closer and fired again. Marvin Gaye died in his mother's arms moments later, the day before his 45th birthday. Police arrived quickly and arrested Marvin Sr., who seemed dazed, confused, and emotionally detached. He told officers he didn't mean to kill his son, only to defend himself, despite witnesses saying Marvin was unarmed and retreating. An investigation revealed years of tension between father and son, emotional abuse, strict religious discipline, and unresolved trauma. The court later determined the elder Gaye had a brain tumor, which may have worsened his mental stability. He ultimately pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter and received a suspended sentence, angering fans, but reflecting the family's desire to avoid further pain. The world mourned. Radio stations played his music non-stop. Fans gathered outside the home, leaving flowers and handwritten notes. Fellow musicians honored him as one of the greatest voices ever to live. Marvin Gaye's death was a tragedy rooted not in fame or rivalry, but in family, in wounds that never healed, and a relationship that had been strained since childhood. His voice was powerful, emotional, and unforgettable, and it continues to echo across generations. He left the world too soon, but his music, it never stopped asking the question he sang so beautifully: what's going on? He was the king of soul, a voice that shaped a generation, a singer whose music defined love, pain, and hope. But on a December night in 1964, Sam Cooke was shot dead inside a small Los Angeles motel. Police called it self-defense. Witnesses said it was justified. But for nearly 60 years, fans and family have asked the same question: is that really what happened? Sam Cooke wasn't just a star. He was a movement, a crossover icon, a civil rights voice, a man who owned his own music, challenged the industry, and stood up for black artists at a time when few dared to. But behind the fame was a life filled with pressure, danger, and powerful enemies. And on December 11th, 1964, something happened that didn't add up then, and still doesn't now. That night, Cooke checked into a small, cheap motel in South Los Angeles with a woman named Elisa Boyer. Hours later, Boyer claimed she fled the room out of fear, taking Sam's clothes with her. She ran to the motel office, banging on the door, screaming for help. Cooke, wearing only a sports jacket and one shoe, burst into the motel lobby moments later, frantic, confused, and furious. He demanded to know where Boyer had gone. He demanded his belongings. He demanded answers.
He did something to have Sam killed because Sam had received a phone call that brought him to that motel with the girl.
Then, according to the official report, the motel manager, a 55-year-old woman named Bertha Franklin, grabbed a gun and shot Sam Cooke once in the chest. Cooke collapsed, dead at 33 years old.
After she shoots him and he proclaims, "Lady, you shot me," he still comes after her, whereupon she grabs some kind of a large stick, and it was a large broom handle or something, and she proceeds to beat him until he collapses.
Franklin claimed he attacked her. Boyer claimed she feared him. Police quickly ruled the death justifiable homicide. But almost immediately, nothing felt right. Sam Cooke's family didn't believe a word of it. Fans didn't either. Even decades later, musicians, journalists, and historians point out disturbing inconsistencies. Why would a wealthy star suddenly end up at a rundown motel? Why did Boyer take his clothes and disappear? Why were Cooke's hands mysteriously bruised, but Franklin barely injured? And why did the investigation end so fast? With no trial, no deep questioning, and no further review? Rumors spread for years. Robbery, extortion, cover-ups, industry sabotage, even hints that Cooke's activism made him a target. None of it was proven, but none of it was disproven either. The only thing everyone agrees on is simple: the official story doesn't explain everything. Sam Cooke's death remains one of the most debated mysteries in music history. Sam Cooke gave the world classics like A Change Is Gonna Come, You Send Me, and Chain Gang. He built bridges between genres, fought for artist rights, and inspired generations of singers. But the truth behind his final moments, what really happened inside that motel, remains tangled in controversy. Was it self-defense, a tragic misunderstanding, or something deeper that the world was never meant to uncover? We may never know, but Sam Cooke's voice and his legacy still echoes long after the gunshot that ended his life.